Hi and welcome to Lawwiser. Today we will be discussing a very interesting topic that is on electricity consumer rules. Central government had issued the Rights of Consumer Rules of Electricity 2020, and it brought about new changes as well. To discuss this and various aspects of how it affects the rights of consumers in electricity, we have an expert with us. We have Mr. Vineet Bose. He's Senior VP Legal at Nuvoco Vistas Group. Welcome, Vineet. Thank you for taking time out for us. Just to begin with our, conversation, this electricity rules have actually brought about certain things which were not really before in this particular space. So we would want to understand how this has really changed the legal landscape with regards to consumers of electricity.
So on this particular first issue, how this is going to change the legal landscape. So for that, first of all, we have to understand the power sector reforms, which has occurred it started from right from 1910, 1948, 2003. So there is the phases of reforms which has happened, and the major focus of the reforms, particularly what has happened in last couple of years, was more on the side of transmission, generation, distribution. Now, this is the first time where a consumer right with respect to standard of service has been acknowledged, and an intent has been. I would come later on why I'm saying that there is an intent actually. An intent has been reflected very well in the rules, so that a consumer. So how it is different? So let's say the right of the consumer to demand supply is very well there in Section 43 of the Electricity Act. Obligation to supply. But what has changed is now there is an obligation to supply with a basic minimum standard parameters. And this is a very important recognition of the consumer right. Now, another very important aspect, we have to appreciate the fact that electricity per se is a concurrent subject. It's under the Indian Constitution. Concurrent subject means both central and both states can legislate. And Electricity Act 2003, in fact, has created a bifurcation of powers actually. So central government has passed to frame rule under 176. State government has passed to frame rule under 180. Or state commission has passed to frame rule under 181. So these rules are issued under section 176 of the Electricity Act 2003. Now, if I say, is it going to change the legal landscape? Yes, the intent is there, but a lot depends on the implementation aspect. Because if I see very critical aspect, so a very interesting aspect you see, and then you will appreciate. So when section 11.4, rule 11.4 was initially on 31st December, because there is an amendment which has happened on 28th June 2021. So when the 31st December 2020, when rule 11 was there, the language was that there shall be, there shall be this net metering. I'm just giving a kind of a directive. But then officials, the central government might have realized that this is going to end up in that jurisdictional battle, because ultimately somewhere this falls within the regulatory domain of the state commission, or so, and they can't interfere with that, and everything will end up in a litigation. So therefore, they had that shall has been changed to may. And of course, now the 11.4, which is there, which says, which more talks about that, it has to be as per the rule framed by the state commission. And if there is no rule, then it may. So I'm trying to say that it's a fine balance. The intent is very well there, no doubt, intent is very well there. Even when the regulatory commissions have came up way back in before 2003, initially there was an intent, and then somehow gradually it has come into the legislation. So I think this depends a lot on the implementation. Of course, the intent has come, gradually it will come, the provision, some of the provisions of the law also has to be implemented over a period of time to bring this. But yes, it's a new beginning where there are 4-5 aspects that of course a consumer. I would like to go into the prosumer concept little bit later. This concept of rooftop or renewable energy generating. But what has happened is that basically what has come to, there is a right to reliable supply that has been recognized. There is a right to compensation which has been recognized. And of course, there is a right with respect to better billing mechanism, metering mechanism and all that, where consumers are being taken for granted. It has been recognized. So some accountability on DISCOMs will come up. That's what something I would like.
So moving on to our next question, if you can explain provisions which are like you just mentioned with respect to rooftop solar projects. Like there's a lot of assertion on renewable energy, and these rules also cover mandatory gross metering for rooftop solar projects, especially above 10 kW in the new rules. So if you can throw some light there as well.
I would just again want to take a step back. The regulations, which the rules has brought into a concept. Of course, the rules are targeted towards consumer, and at the same time, it recognizes a consumer which is in a category which is connected with the incumbent DISCOM and connected with the grid, which is called grid interactive rooftop PV systems and all that. But the rule, if we say, it covers all sorts of renewable. Of course, generally it's it's being construed as solar is more prominently being highlighted because of the target and the 100 gigawatt target and all that. But the rule basically talks about all kinds of renewable energy where a consumer is in a situation where a consumer consumes the from the grid, but at the same time, by way of its rooftop solar photovoltaic equipments of the systems, it generates power and injects into the grid. So there are two concepts. Now, there are 3 ways. So again, when I say step back is about why, because there is a way in which tariffs are determined and how the tariffs are built. So there are 2 forms of tariff. One is, of course, the retail tariff, on which a DISCOM supplies to a consumer. Now, the retail tariff actually is not the average procurement cost of the DISCOM. There is a lot of element of cross subsidy involved, subsidization of means because ultimately they have to subsidize power to the consumers of certain categories, so they cross subsidizes it to industrial tariffs and all that. The tariffs are fairly higher. So when the net metering concept, which is there, which is 10 kW kilowatt concept, now 10 kW actually has become, now it's not relevant actually because of the 28th June amendment. It has brought it to 500 kW because but not going into that aspect, the fact is that there is a net metering where DISCOM is at a disadvantage because you take the power at the retail tariff, whatever you inject into the grid, that power also you will get the retail tariff, but DISCOM doesn't want that power actually at that that high tariff because it can get a solar power nowadays. It's coming on 2 or 3 rupees per unit and all that. Low price it is there. So why it will take a costly power from a consumer by way of injecting to the grid? So this net metering, basically, most of the state regulations, whichever has introduced this concept, they had diluted this net metering concept. So these regulations have brought the concept. They have created a. They have basically now the amended rule says, as per the 11.4, whatever the state commission determines, whether it is net metering, gross metering, but if it is not determined, then up to 500 kW will be up to 500 kW. If I read the clear wording, it talks about commission may allow up to 500 kW. It could be a net metering or it could be a gross metering or a net billing method. So, of course, in the gross metering method, the consumer who is installing a rooftop grid, he will be at a disadvantage because these systems are very costly. And in the gross metering, he is going to get a tariff for whatever is the fixed tariff by the commission, which is absolutely low. So I think, but if I see from a rules perspective, they have left lot to the commission only to decide. They have only given more of a guidance.
Thank you. This actually clears and makes us understand all these technical aspects as well, which the rules deal with. Moving on further to our next, is the new policy also, how does it impact or affect the distribution companies as opposed to consumers vis-a-vis the rooftop solar industry? You have covered most of it in the earlier answer, but if you could just sum it up for us, like in a minute, and let us know.
Of course, keeping the implementation aspect aside, the DISCOMs will be more accountable because of the standard minimum standards which they have to, the rules, intent of the rule is that they have to maintain, and commission has been obligated to bring for that. And the second thing is that compensation aspect, automatic compensation concept has been introduced, but I have my reasons to actually doubt about this implementation, because section 57(2) is something where whether because there are rulings from the Honorable Supreme Court, the way it has been interpreted over a period of time is that as far as the between a consumer and the DISCOM, regulatory commission do not have jurisdiction, and it has to go to the grievance redressal forums and the ombudsman and all that under the relevant statute. And those forums, of course, are manned by officials from DISCOM. Of course, the rule says that grievance redressal forum has to have the members from the consumer bodies and one member from the commission member. But ultimately, these are more managed by the DISCOM members. So somehow the efficacy of those forums will be there. But yes, again, the intent is there about the automatic compensation aspect. So DISCOM will be more accountable, I believe, once this is implemented in the right spirit. And DISCOM will always also be in an both a consumer, a residential consumer, because he will get the net metering benefit, because I think 500 kW or even 10 is a substantially higher limit, so they will get the net metering benefit. But when it comes to DISCOM, they are also will be advantaged, because as far as the higher demand and all that, those EPC kind of developers and all that, in those cases gross metering would be there. For that also they will get at a better advantage. And so these are the various aspects are there. So I see a lot of accountability coming to DISCOM, and if implemented well, DISCOM will also be in a position to improve their financial position with this.
So this is good. They've been trying to strike that balance that is required basically between the distribution and the consumers as well. And moving to the next, when you mention about the EPC developers, also known as the employment, procurement, and construction developers, how do you think it will affect this segment?
So if I say from a Consumer Protection Act perspective, prior to 2019, the situation was very good because of course, there is a general aspect that whether the Consumer Protection Act is applicable for other than commercial supply. But prior to 2009, there is a Supreme Court judgment because they have interpreted as far as the service part is concerned, though that restriction under the relevant provision was not there, and therefore they were held as even the consumers against the discoms and all that. Even an industrial consumer can also approach uh, the Consumer Protection Forum. But as far as the 2019 amendment is concerned, commercial supply or commercial services anybody is taking, it's not available for the from the Consumer Protection jurisdiction. But of course, a consumer who is a prosumer or who is using it and at the same time injecting, there are two different hats he is wearing at the same time. So of course, this injecting to the grid is a commercial aspect because he's going to get a commercial thing. But since the rules very carefully recognizes the fact that there are two hats he's wearing, so as far as the consumer who is not a commercial, unlike EPC and all that, a residential, let's say a residential consumer who has a rooftop solar PV module also installed and injected to the grid, he will have he can always avail the Consumer Protection Act jurisdiction, because even the Electricity Act recognizes that concept that the exclusion of jurisdiction is not for the Consumer Protection Act, provided he fits into the definition of the consumer.
Yeah. Thank you, Vineet. Thank you for explaining how this impacts the EPC developers. And you also touched upon the consumer protection rules. So, if you can just explain to our audience, what is the interplay here between these rules, the electricity rights of consumer rules, and the consumer protection rules?
So if I say interplay between these rules and the Consumer Protection Act, I would like to summarize it this way. A consumer who is consuming the power from the grid for his own use, not for a commercial purpose, can avail the jurisdiction under the Consumer Protection Act also, and at the same time he can avail under these rules also, because the deficiency of service, one way is going into that, but when it comes to the automatic compensation aspect, those provisions, if it is implemented properly, he can avail under these rules also. But when it comes to the industrial consumer or a commercial user is concerned, they can only have the redressal under these rules or the regulations, whatever regulations has been framed by the Regulatory Commission as per the mandate under these rules. And the Consumer Protection Act jurisdiction is not available post 2019 Consumer Protection Act amendment.
Thank you, Vineet, for explaining in such simple words to our audience, which is such a technical topic. A lot of people really don't understand the intricacies when it comes to the electricity rules, let it be these rights to consumer rules. And I think it's very important for our audience to also understand, various aspects when it comes to gross metering, because a lot of places are having solar rooftops, and one needs to be able to understand these, how it impacts the EPC developers, and how it has really changed the entire legal landscape when it comes to rights to consumers. Thank you so much. Thank you for taking time out for that.